So Elon, if you could get up and explain where you are, how you're doing, and how much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have you. He's been a tremendously successful guy. He's really working so hard, and he's got businesses to run. And in many ways, they say, "How do you do this?" And he's sacrificing a lot and getting a lot of praise, I'll tell you. But he's also getting hit, and we would expect that, and that's the way it works. So I'd like to have Elon Musk please say a few words.
Well,
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually just call myself a humble tech support here because this is actually, as crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work that the DOGE team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. The overall goal here with the DOGE team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt, now exceeds the Defense Department spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending like over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt. It's not an optional thing, it is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here. And taking a lot of flack, and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I mean, I like to stack them up, But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done. And I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, knock on my wooden head, there's a lot of wood up there, that we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. And obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. So it's really, DOGE is a support function for the President and for the agencies and departments to help achieve those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the receipts. So people say, well, is this real? Just go to doge.gov. We line item by line item, we specify each item. So, and I should say, we will make mistakes. We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption. But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day, every day, from now through the end of September. But we can do it, and we will do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Musk. I just wanted to ask you that President Trump put out a Truth Social today saying that everybody in the cabinet was happy with you. I just wondered if you had heard otherwise, and if you had heard anything about members of the cabinet who weren't happy with the way things were going, and if so, what are you doing to address those any dissatisfaction?
Elon, let the cabinet speak just for a second. Is anybody unhappy with Elon? If you are, we'll throw him out of here. Is anybody unhappy? We have a lot of respect for Elon and that he's doing this, and some disagree a little bit, but I will tell you, for the most part, I think everyone's not only happy, they're thrilled. So go ahead, Elon.
I'm grateful.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Musk. Are there about half of the government employees so far appear to have responded to your request for what they've been doing over the past week? Is there a timeline in place for next moves for people being fired, and when can people expect to see results of that?
Yes. Well, to be clear, I think that email perhaps was best interpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? You have a pulse and 2 neurons. So if you have a pulse and 2 neurons, you can reply to an email. This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. This is, anyone can accomplish this. But what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond. And some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. Well, somebody's collecting paychecks on a fictional individual, so we're just literally trying to figure out, are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write an email? Which I think is a reasonable expectation for the American public would have at least that expectation of someone in the public sector.
Mr. Musk, roughly 1 million employees.
It's not a high bar, guys, come on.
Roughly 1 million employees have responded so far to this email. Does that mean that the remaining 1 million or so federal employees now risk being terminated? And is it your understanding and expectation when you post a directive on X that the cabinet secretaries will follow that order? Because several agencies have instructed employees that this is voluntary or not to respond.
Yeah, well, I guess it was like last week, the president encouraged me via Truth Social and also via phone call to be more aggressive. And I was like, okay, yes, sir, Mr. President, we will indeed do that. The president is the commander-in-chief. I do what the president asks. And I said, can we send out an email to everyone just saying, what did you get done last week? And the president said yes, so it did that. We got a partial response. We're going to send another email. But our goal is not to be capricious or unfair. We want to give people every opportunity to send an email. And the email could simply be, what I'm working on is too sensitive or classified to describe. Like literally just, that would be sufficient. I think this is just common sense.
All right, guys, so what do you guys think about this? Elon Musk stepping in after, having all his businesses. He's willing to have some of his time be devoted to helping our government and to making it more efficient. As you can see in the video, I posted, the DOGE.gov website. I was going through there showing a little bit of what the breakdown of the wall of receipts that he was speaking of. The American people all have access to this. You guys are all willing. You guys all have the ability to go on there and check it out. If there are people out there that have more questions about what DOGE is doing and you haven't heard it on the news yet, go to your local news station, ask some of these people, have it brought up to the public, let it get out there in the networks. Once it gets out there and gets leaked, it'll be pushed enough to get reporters to start asking the questions that you're so interested in wondering about when it comes to DOGE. I see so many things on Facebook, people posting, oh, DOGE is doing this, DOGE is doing that, without actually really understanding the specifics. If you have questions, you got to bring them up to get them answered. Don't just complain about them and post it on Facebook thinking that it's going to change anything. Because honestly, it's not going to change anything. It's just showing a lot of people that you're just a complainer about things that you're not willing to look deeper in. He addresses the cabinet, letting them know, hey, this is our intention. And, the president asked me to be a little bit more aggressive into figuring out to help save money and bring down our debt. So I offered, sending out an email to all federal workers. Hey, what's 5 things you did last week? And it's a pulse check. He calls it. He wants to make sure people are alive. People that are actually working for the federal government and are getting paid by taxpayer money, that they're doing what they're supposed to. And they said, over 1 million have not replied to the emails. I mean, if they have to, once they find out which emails are not being responded to, they're probably going to go in depth and start knocking on these doors and saying, hey, we need to see all these people on this list that didn't reply. We need to see if they're actually working here or if they're not working here, or if they're on vacation. We got to know, because if they're not doing their job and they're not willing to even reply to a simple email, cut them. You got to let them loose. We don't need that. We need people that are working for the American people. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Till next time. Peace out, guys.